Well, hello, all of you string picking guys and gals out there. Welcome back to Obscene Studio. Hope this video finds you well. Today's subject, tone capacitors. I recently purchased a kit from Amazon. Most of you out there that are tone chasers like myself, and I love to chase tone, come back here, you, have changed a tone capacitor a time or two in your life. These are just about every size you could need, all kinds of them. I was browsing the never-ending inventory of Amazon when I ran across two orange drop tone capacitors that were the 0.22022, I'm not sure, but they were 12 bucks for two of them. For two. I got this whole thing for $16.99. So why not try them out? Had a couple of guitars in here. When you dial back the tone on the guitars, it doesn't get quite dark enough. Some of them get too dark when you dial the tone back. For those of you that don't know what a tone capacitor's job is, it is this. The smaller the value of the capacitor, the higher frequency it allows to go through. The larger capacity of the tone capacitor numbers, the lower frequencies come through and the higher frequencies are shut out. So basically, what it comes down to is this. If you have no tone capacitor on your tone knob and you turn that tone knob all the way down, there is no change in the sound of your guitar at all. The tone knob basically is out of the picture. It's just there. You still get guitar sound, you still get the high end, but you cannot adjust your tone. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, I never knew I needed that. If you keep your tone knob up to 10 all the way, you probably never knew you did. But like I said, I am a tone chaser. I'm forever playing with the tone knob and the volume knobs on my guitars to find that certain sound that an older 70s song to the newer songs that are out today. So I'm forever chasing that certain tone to fit a certain song. Or if I'm writing songs myself, I am forever looking for the right sound for that song. So tone capacitors are a huge help when it comes to that. Very simple to do, very easy to change. I'm going to walk you through that today. I've got Richie on the bench behind me. His guts is laid all out across the operating table. I'm going to show you what I did. In this clip right here, you see that what I've done is wired up a rig going to the push-pull knob on Richie that comes out to two alligator clips so I can change these tone capacitors as I go along. And you will see the difference in the higher value and the lower value tone capacitors and the sounds that they make. This is not to be confused with treble bleeds that you put on the volume pot. That is a completely different thing that we will be discussing in our next video. We're going to go to treble bleeds. String pickers, I know. There's a million videos about this on YouTube. A million of them. People have done everything you can think of to figure out what a tone capacitor does, what it will do. Very, very smart people on YouTube explain exactly how to do it. I'm kind of new at this. I know what they do. I've just never really tried different values in the tone capacitors. So that's what I'm doing today. So you guys can see exactly what a tone capacitor does and how it sounds, how it affects your tone knob, and how easy they are to change out. Okay, so as you can see right down here, we have our push-pull out, and we have my little wiring get up. All I did was took a little piece of basswood, plywood, and drilled a couple of holes in it and put these alligator clips in it, connected the wire that way. Then come over here to the tone capacitor, hook one side to the frame of the capacitor and one side to the outside lug, basically where the other capacitor was. Without a capacitor, you can watch me turn the knob. No change whatsoever. None whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to turn it all the way down. Watch what happens when we bridge the gap on these wires. See how fast that rolls off? You let go. That's what a tone capacitor does. So we have got several that we're going to go through today. We're going to start with the smallest. We're going to turn our push-pull tone knob all the way up. Now, the push-pull is not engaged. This is full humbucker on the bridge. And it's set up like this so you guys can see. There's a lot of channels out there that run through all of these playing for every capacitor and all that stuff. And I don't really feel like we need that. We just need to understand what it does. So we're going to start with the smallest, and the smallest that I have is a 0.001 UF, and it is a 630 volt. And we're going to hook this up. You can hear my fingers touch. Okay, so we're at full. Now that's all the way down. We still have a very, very minute change in tone. Let's just do it like this. Without the 001, with. Very, very little. Lets you adjust, but doesn't get real dark. It lets a lot of the high frequency come through, and then it only chokes out very little of it. So the smaller the capacitor, the more high frequency comes through when you're playing. Now this is catered towards you beginners out there. If you ever decide you want to get into modding your own guitar, this is probably the way to do it. First off, you know, very simple, very easy to do. Okay, we're not going to do all of these, so we're going to step up to an 0047 UF, and we're going to see the difference. Without. With. That's tone knob all the way down. Without. With. This one is, I kind of like this one. I don't like for my playing to be really dark, because I think once you go so dark, it starts getting muddy. So let's go to, here's a 0.068. Now this should be a little more drastic of a change. without, with. You see the difference? This is tone knob all the way up, tone knob all the way down. Tone knob all the way down. And that's the difference right there. That sounds a little too muddy for me. I'm not really a fan of that one. Let's go to the 0.01. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go to the industry standard, which is a 0.22 UF. Usually people either use these or they use the 0.47. Yeah, the 0.47. If they like to get really, really dark. Okay, without, tone knob all the way down, with. I think that, and again, this is personal preference. You guys can decide on which one that you like the best. But for giggles, we are going to go to the largest size that I have, which is a 0.56 UF. Look at that thing. It's humongous. We're going to go with this, and I'm going to show you exactly. Like you heard the 0.001 UF. This is the 0.56 UF. Now, there is a definite drastic difference between the two. This will come more acting, your tone knob acting like a volume knob without. With. There's nothing there. All the way up, all the way down. So that one is definitely, this would go on a guitar that had pickups that were, had no bottom end whatsoever, and this would be the one that I would probably go with. But however, I'm thinking that my favorite is probably going to be the 0.068 UF, and that's simply because it gives me a bit of that variety, but it doesn't darken it completely out. So my tone knob is all the way down again, and this is the 0.068 UF. Yeah, my tone should not get any lower than that. So how about we just go ahead and solder this into place and get this in the guitar. I'll show you how easy that is to do. So we are going to get our capacitor, which is right here. This is the 0.068. We have no capacitor whatsoever. So we're going to cut the guitar off completely, and we are going to take this wire loose from where I had it put on here. So it's going to come loose right here and loose from the body. Our wire is off. And I'm going to snip these back just a little because I feel like that we're not going to need all that length, and you don't want this to touch a hot or something like that that may cause issues down the road. So we're going to cut that one there, that one there. So we got two about the same length, and then we're going to bend one of them. What I like to do is almost put a 90-degree angle on the bottom. Just grab it at the very end and then just kind of bend it almost at a 90-degree angle. And that will set against the body, and then we're going to bend this other one. Now, I'll tell you what, we're going to leave that one the same. Now, I know you guys can't really see much from up here, so I'm going to crop in on this so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to get our solder out. I've already added solder to this because they use a different solder than I do, and it takes a long time to heat that stuff up. I got shaky hands, I apologize. Okay, now we've got that there, so we're going to bend this around, and we're going to come right over here to the front. And we are going to bend this just a little bit, so we want it to lay on there flat. I don't want to poke it through the holes because I've already got wires running through there, and they may come loose. So we're going to do it this way. I'm just going to press down on it a little right here, and then we're just going to heat that solder up. And there we go. Let that cool. And there we go. That's it, guys. That's all you have to do. Now, let's turn our guitar back on. Okay, now, this is what it sounds like, tone knob at 10. About 3/4 way back. About halfway back. All the way down. And that's exactly what I want for this guitar. So let me get this thing put back together, and I'll come back with my final thoughts and opinions on this little kit that I've got. And that, string pickers, is how tone capacitors work. A lot of you musicians out there that's been playing for a while probably already know this. This is geared toward people that are just getting into trying to mod their guitars, wanting to know what the changes that they can make, how it's going to affect the sounds and stuff. Well, tone capacitors have a lot to do with that, along with treble bleeds, which this guitar will be getting also in the next video. I am going to do the same thing. I've got some resistors showing up. I'm going to wire them up in series, and I'm going to wire them up in parallel. I'm going to find out which one works best for this guitar, because two things that this guitar does that I don't really much care about is, before, my tone would be at 10 and I'd play. And when I wanted to drop back the tone, I'd go all the way back to probably 2 and it'd still be the same sound. And then from 2 to 1, it'd drop off completely. There was no stepping down at all. It was just down to 2, drops off. I looked at the other capacitor that come out of this guitar, and it was really small. Him just a little guy. And that was the whole reason why. I have another guitar in here that I've already done, and it is my other LTD EC50. Now, that one had no tone control at all. You got what you got. I added one to it, and it gets really dark now or really bright according to how you use your tone knob. Now, when it comes to distortion, sometimes I like to use it, but most of the time I like to use it on the clean tone. Clean tone is where you can really pick out that tonal variation. Today's word, tonal variation. So I went ahead and put one in that, got it sounding really good, and I'm happy with it. Now, pros and cons. The only con I can think of is I have never heard of this brand before in my life. I don't know if Bojack is a good brand or not. I went off simply the fact that it had 4.8 stars on the review on Amazon, and they were $16.99 for all of these, like every one of them. I mean, look how many, there's 150 pieces. There's 15 different values. And the values you get are this: 0.001 UF, 0.0022 UF, 0.0033 UF, 0.0047 UF, 0.068 UF, which is the one that we put in here because that one got me dark but didn't just drown it out with nothing but low end. I wanted just a hair in there to where I can still tell it was a guitar. 0.01 UF, 0.1 UF, 0.022 UF, 0.22 UF, 0.033 UF, 0.33 UF, 0.047 UF, 0.47 UF, 0.15 UF, and 0.56 UF. Those are the values you get. Two orange drop capacitors at 0.22 and the 0.47s were $6 a piece. Now, I understand some of these may be made better than the other ones. These are polypropylene film capacitors, which is kind of the industry standard right now. I did want to get paper and oil capacitors because paper and oil, in the 50s, when Gibson Les Paul first come out, paper and oil was kind of a thing back then. And for people to get a new Gibson these days and kind of want that classic Gibson tone from the 50s, usually have to change out their tone capacitors with the paper and oil. I don't know. They're a little more rare than these others. I seen this deal and I jumped all over it. Paper and oil is quite a bit more expensive just for one. You'd probably get more for that one than you would this whole kit. But anyway, that has helped this guitar out a whole lot. Now it is an even flow from 10 to 0 as far as tone goes. I'm a poet and didn't know it because I rhyme every time. So that was a very much needed mod for this guitar. I can't tell you people that come here all the time, you know that Richie is one of my favorite guitars in the studio here. I play Richie probably more than I do any of them, because Richie just has a nice feel. It's got a good neck on it, and it's got a great sound to it. And I just love this guitar. So usually this is the one I do like to mod, because if there's any way I can make it sound better than it already does, I'm game, even though I love the way it sounded when I got it. But I have made upgrades to this guitar, and it has gotten exceptionally better sounding since I first owned it. So I really appreciate you guys stopping in. I appreciate you watching the video. By the way, the intro to this video, that was yesterday when I filmed playing that little thing against a backing track that I've gotten off of YouTube. I do that a lot. It helps build my lead skills. That was more rhythm than lead. But that was before I did the tone capacitor thing to this guitar, and I kind of want to experiment with it more. But instead of doing that right now and giving you a sound of me, an actual playthrough of this guitar, I want to wait and get the treble bleed on it. I want to do that because I think that is going to be the last thing that I do to that guitar. I may swap out pickups or something in the future, not sure, but for right now, that guitar is where it's at. So thank you guys so much for joining me here today in Obscene Studios. I really love each and every one of you that come in to view my videos, especially my subscribers. As always, I pray that you and yours are having the most blessed day ever, and I pray that God is with you all. Until next time, later.